Assassination attempts against King James I, the Gunpowder Plot.
King James I was the only son of Mary, Queen of Scots, and Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley of England. King James I survived many assassination attempts in his homeland of Scotland as well as in England. One of these famous attempts is known as the Gunpowder Plot. It was conducted by Robert Catesby in London, England, on the 5th of November, 1605. After the Gunpowder Plot, King James I sanctioned harsher measures to control the non-conforming English Catholics in order to protect not only himself but his followers.
Robert Catesby lived his entire life as a strong, devoted Catholic man. Not being so thrilled about the king being a Protestant man who was less tolerant or enthusiastic about Catholicism than his subjects had hoped for, Catesby planned to kill the king by blowing up the House of Lords while he was inside with gunpowder during the state opening of Parliament, leaving a Catholic monarch to restore the English throne, someone he deemed more worthy.
Guy Fawkes. Although Guy Fawkes was not the leader of the Gunpowder Plot operation, Fawkes had the most important job. Guy Fawkes was in charge of placing and guarding 36 barrels of gunpowder underneath the throne room of King James I. Authorities discovered the secret plot due to an anonymous letter. They then searched the House of Lords where Fawkes was found, guarding the explosives. Over the course of the following days, Fawkes was put on trial and tortured. He eventually confessed and was sentenced to death. However, before his execution, Fawkes fell off the scaffold of where he was to be hanged and broke his neck.
The Gunpowder Plot was an operation conducted by a group of Catholic men. The operation's focus was to eliminate King James I by blowing up the House of Lords. Underneath the throne room of King James I, 36 barrels of gunpowder were placed in order to cause the explosion. Unfortunately, before the plan could be executed, Guy Fawkes was caught and the explosion was stopped. Modern-day physicists predict that if the explosion succeeded, it would have caused damage up to half a kilometer away from the House of Lords.
8 men from the group were arrested, including Guy Fawkes. The men were tortured for information and then sentenced to death. Torture included the burning of eyeballs, the breaking of limbs, fingers and jaws, and the pulling of teeth. Also, while being transported to the hanging scaffold, the prisoners were dragged by horses. This also caused tremendous pain, as most torture prisoners had already received broken bones. After being hanged in front of a crowd, the prisoners were then quartered. As you can see in the picture, there's a prisoner being cut into quarters with an axe. So for the final slide, this is just a diagram of how big the explosion would be from the room that we are currently watching this video in. So we are the blue dot, and the radius of the blast goes all the way actually to Lava Pizza and Wings. So if you look out the window, you can see probably of how far the blast would reach.